Welcome to the Fane of Fantasy. As promised about 2 weeks ago, I will here share some more information on the Magio Order, which is a powerful organization of female spellcasters which I created for my fantasy trilogy, the Keystone Bone. If you like fantasy, make sure to subscribe for new videos every single Monday. See you in a second. The Magio Order resides in a place called the Bronze Tower. This place sits on a piece of neutral land which no kingdom or empire hold any claim to, as I showed in the video about 2 weeks ago. At least that's how it starts in book 1, but where it goes from there, I'll not reveal to you here. This organization is maintaining 4 areas of practice, each focus area forming its own branch, symbolized by each of its members wearing their own distinct colored robes. The only exception to this rule is the leader of the Magio Order, referred to as the first sorceress. She wears a robe woven from all the 4 colors of the branches. The first sorcerer rules the Bronze Tower and all the branches within it. When she passes away from old age, her successor is chosen by democratic means. In fact, and just for you to know as a little bonus information here, sienna also refers to an earth pigment containing iron oxide and manganese oxide, which when heated becomes this kind of reddish brown. So it bears a close resemblance to bronze, so hence their base is a bronze tower. I thought that detail was pretty clever myself, since the sorceresses within the organization is called Sienna sorceresses. Yeah, so the Bronze Tower is this massive building, which in the bottom half is dedicated to audience chambers and tower meetings. Audience rooms are often decorated in all the 4 colors of the branches, also called castes, and each are governed by its own internal leader. Tower talks is where the cast will meet and discuss policies and procedures, though due to the fact that the Bronze Tower doesn't really involve itself in world politics, it's mostly internal matters that are being discussed here. The first sorceress will preside these tower meetings, or tower talks as I call them. Okay, before we go any further, it's probably best to just clarify some titles here, just to avoid any kind of confusion. So the first sorceress, we already talked about her. She is the leader of the Magio Order. The rest of the management around the Magio Order is the head of castes. There are 4 of these, and we'll return to them in just a little bit. The full-fledged members of the Magio Order are called Sienna sorceresses. And before becoming a Sienna sorceress, one is given the title of Sienna. A Sienna is kind of like in between an apprentice and the full member called Sienna sorceress. Okay, did that make sense to you? I hope it didn't become too complicated. But just to sum up so we're all clear, you have an apprentice. They take the test of the tower at some point, and if they survive, and yes, not all do survive, they will become a Sienna. And in time, they will be raised to full member and earn the title of Sienna sorceress. So out of those Sienna sorcerers, 4 of those will become the head of the castes. And out of those 4, 1 of them will be selected as the first sorceress if the current leader for some reason should pass away. Okay, I'm sure you got that, so let's move on. The top half of the tower contains the cast quarters, and here we find the home of the fully raised Sienna sorceresses. I imagine that they probably organize their rooms so that each cast member kind of lives close to a fellow sorceress of her own caste. Well, the highest level of the tower then is reserved for the officers of the first sorceress and the recorder. The recorder is the one who is recording all history of Erisdyn, and also the head of the brown caste. I'll just get back to that in a second. The Sienas have a palace-like building for living quarters, and that palace-like building sits right next to the tower itself. The interior consists of marble statues of all the first sorceresses of the Bronze Tower back to the dawn of time. Those statues surround a small courtyard with benches, and in the center of this one finds the Tree of Commitment. This tree is the only surviving tree outside of Tatooine. And we covered the layout of the land in a previous video, so I'll not repeat that here, but this is where apprentices once raised to Siena pledged their eternal allegiance to the Bronze Tower and to the Magio Order. The Siena Palace can hold almost 400 Sienas. Not far from the Bronze Tower, but still a bit further down the street, so to speak, on the edge of the surrounding community. Well, the community is essentially a city, but there we find the apprentice living quarters. It's a large stone building that holds nearly 500 apprentices. The city itself has about 1,000 inhabitants who have taken up residence in what they perceive as the protecting shade of the tower, though it does come with the price of serving the tower's needs. So, like cleaning and serving foods and stuff like that. And they do that together with the apprentices, of course. The basement level of the tower itself is used for testing apprentices to become Sienas. Located there is a gate to a magical realm, but I'll speak no more of this right here now, so no spoilers, as I promised in the previous video as well. As promised, here is an overview of the different castes then. The blue caste is the smallest of the castes, with approximately 200 members. The blue caste normally involves themselves with training of apprentices, so the head of the blue caste is called the first teacher. The brown caste is the third largest, with approximately 400 members. They are devoted to knowledge and to the collection of ancient wisdom. So they dedicate all their time to history and to studies. And they are, as mentioned, also responsible for recording the history of Erisdyn and the administration of the Bronze Tower Library. As I already said, the head of the brown caste is called First Recorder. And so then we have the green caste, which is the second largest and holds approximately 800 members. Siena sorceresses of this caste are concerning themselves mostly with law and order, but many of them also have healing as their main focus. So they are also referred to as the Enforcer caste. Furthermore, they enjoy the prestige of having the highest number of their members raised to become first sorceress. The head of the green caste is called First Enforcer. And then we have the yellow caste, which is the largest and has approximately 1,600 members. They are the ears and eyes of the tower, and they form an extensive spy network. They are mostly operating in the field, collecting intel on world politics for the Magio Order, and the head of this caste is called the First Protector. So in total we have around 3,000 Siena sorceresses, although over half of them is not actually staying in the tower itself, since they belong to the yellow caste and is operating a field. They also have a tower guard. These are a few hundred of the most elite warriors one can find. Perhaps these are the only ones who can actually go head to head with the Duians if anybody wanted to do so, at least out of everybody living outside of Tatooine. I hope you find this premise interesting, and if it inspires you in some way, I don't mind you stealing the idea and making it your own in some way at all. Just leave a comment in the comment section below and tell me what you did with it or how it inspired you. I would really love to hear that from you. At the point of recording this, I'm about to send book 1, Desolation, of my trilogy to my book formatter. So by the time you watch this, I usually record my videos a bit ahead of time just to make sure that I have some in the bank for you in case something comes up preventing me from recording. But yeah, what I was saying was that Desolation is likely to have been released now that you're watching this. So do go and check out my website. I have left a link in the description field below for you to make it easy. And if you like this video, do hit the like button below. And you can also go and check out the community over on Patreon. I'm trying to build that over there. And there's also a link for that on the screen somewhere here and also in the description field. So do check that one out. And looking forward to next week. And until then, all the best.